Okay, so I didn't dry my hair this morning because my husband's sleeping. He fell asleep downstairs, and so yeah, I don't blow dry my hair when he's sleeping, so I don't want to wake him up. Even though I did make coffee or make my little espresso, but whatever. Drying my hair is a bit longer. So remember yesterday I woke up with a sore throat, and remember I told you yesterday that I blew my nose and blew my nose and blew my nose and blew my nose. And I was a little bit fatigued yesterday, yes. Absolutely, because I hardly could sleep. I mean, the last 2 nights was pretty insane. The last couple weeks was pretty insane. That virus, whatever, the JN1 or the H something 1 ran through me so quickly. And all it takes is walking into a room. All it takes is walking into a crowded place. I heard somebody say they walked into a Target for just a minute and they came home with a sore throat. Yeah, the ectoplasm, the aerosolized microbial ectoplasm is so intense and so aggressive and been so activated that you just walk into a room and catch something. And I'm telling you, we're in Pandora's box. And so that's why, I can go places every so often, and I'll catch whatever, but then I'll release that demon. And so, yeah, after I did the Facebook Live, I ate some food, so I actually was really hungry, and I ate a bunch of my quiche I made the other day. And then I wasn't sure if my husband was gonna come home like sooner or later or whatever, and I found he's coming home a little bit later, and so I took a nap around 12, got up around 3. I'm like, oh my God, I was still tired, but I made dinner, and I went to sleep last night, and it was great. I was up for maybe about a minute or so, and then I got up this morning, and I released my demons, and they definitely came out. They came out better than they did yesterday. The last 2 nights was pretty insane as far as staying up and being so awake. And I even felt a little bit of anxiety around certain things that I would usually be really anxious about. But even though I was anxious about it, I still did whatever I had to do, and it wasn't that crazy. I think I made one little mistake that I did correct. But I'll tell you, I mean, if I had that little tiny brain fog for a second when I was doing that little job the day before yesterday, if that little tiny brain, I know how aggressive this variant's going through people. I know how aggressive. I'll tell you, the growth is astronomical. The growth is so fast. I'm telling you, people are getting growths happening overnight. Remember on my Facebook, hold on, I showed you what those mushrooms in 6 days, that growth happens. But their growth can happen overnight. But you won't know it until it comes to surface, until it turns into a bubble, or it turns into like a hive. See, things happen in your body that you're not even aware of until it gets so out of control. And you either feel pain, like, I had that little scratchy throat, or not a scratchy throat, it was just a little bit of pain, or it is a growth. And when you are really skinny or really, fighting infection, fighting disease, diabetic, heart issues, other stuff, you won't even know the growth you have in your body until it comes to surface. And by that time, it's almost too late. But actually it is, because you have now a programming that you have to release. That's why I showed you those 2 pictures of the brain and the intestines. That's your immune system. Really, when you think about it, your lungs are your immune system too. But your brains and your intestines are both the brain. People say that your gut's a second brain. I'd say that's your first brain, because what you have in your gut controls everything up here. People think up here controls this. Well, it's just relative to which side you're coming from. When you come upon information, you can control your gut. But before you came upon new information to control your gut was controlling your brain. So it's all a matter of awareness. What came first, the chicken or the egg? They're saying in IFL science, not IFL science, somewhere else, they said that the chicken came first. I would agree with that in an allegorical level. The chicken came first because the chicken was programmed a specific way until the chicken became aware of its own programming and changed its fucking programming. That's what we're now being given the opportunity, is to change our programming. We came in with a specific programming, and so we were the chicken until someone said, hey, here's a new idea, here's a new storyline, here's a new way of thinking, And then the person developed an egg. What's the egg? It's the ideas. It's the evolution. And they then developed another evolution, another offspring. Okay? So yeah, I could see allegorically the chicken came first. Absolutely. Where we actually originally came from, we will never fucking know. And if we are given some kind of answer of where we came from, how are you to know for sure? You're just believing somebody else's storyline yet again. Just like the Bible. Just like anything out there that's written by somebody else. You got to be the one to be like, well, I was the chicken and now I've developed the egg and here it is. Here's my egg. Here's what I've developed. Or you're going to be regurgitating somebody else. And you're seeing it all over Facebook. People love, people hate, people have a religion. They have a political thought process. They have a scientific way of looking at stuff. And it can be based upon somebody else's thought process. But with science and stories, you can develop your own storyline if you understand how to use words, and understand biology, and the rules of biology, rules of the sciences, the physics, chemistry. And if you don't understand the rules of anything, and you don't understand the language, I mean, I had to pick apart the language a couple of years ago. I picked apart language and was like, oh, that's right. You have the context. That's why there's like several different definitions for one word. Okay? And so, yeah, you can have one word and it could be in so many different contexts based upon the parts of speech. But if you don't even know the parts of speech, you don't even really know how the command of the English language, if you're so against the evolution of what's going on, you're going to shit on artificial intelligence. You're going to shit on evolution. You're going to shit on somebody being like, well, maybe the government is correct. Maybe your peers are not correct. Oh, man, go figure that. But if you're going to resist the government, they'll let you resist yourself out of existence. They'll give you everything, almost everything, for you to destroy yourself and bring everyone around you who's following you down with you. And that was your own choice. That's their choice to follow you. Okay? And so we're in a totally different universe right now. We're a totally different world. Everything has flipped. And now you're beginning everything you could possibly want. The energy, the baubles. And if you're rich, which we know many people are rich out there, and they have money to spend, money to burn, the system is thanking them by giving them all this energy, keeping them cured. So when you're not allowing new information to get in your brain and you're staying in one tunnel vision with a politics, religion, or science, imagine the energy out there like the J juice after someone abuses it. The poop in their intestines become relatively cured, and so the same programming in their intestines are feeding the brain, and it's just going back and forth, looping in the same thought process. That's the whole thing with being cured and not allowing a little bit of evolution at a time, like the uracil in the DNA. Is you have people looping in the same religion, same politics, same science, same love, same hate, and it's just their ass is talking, their brain is talking, their ass is talking, and even though that's maybe true in my world, my ass is talking, my brain's talking, I'm allowing evolution and developing storylines, and I'm veering away from the mainstream and the alternative mainstream storylines, and so then it's evolution over here with a little bit of curative, with respite in between each fluctuation when the environment changes. We got a lot of people who have old world values, very old world traditions, old ways of thinking, stuck in their immune system, stuck in their shit, and it's feeding their brain. And then you see why we had to go to war for many, many years, why people went to war for many years. Because some people were breeding intolerance to evolution in their families. And so then you understand now why people have gone to war in the past. That people want to change, people resist change, and then you have a war. So now we're in a different world. Not being sick or being cured in this environment will be and already is deadly. Just like, when you did so much J juice, which I did, remember how skinny I got? I mean, I looked hot. There was probably one summer where I could wear a bikini and I was so skinny, such a flat stomach. No, actually there's 2 summers. When I came back from Hawaii and I went to Sacramento, and I was so fucking skinny because I was running every single day, running to Starbucks and back when I was over in Hawaii. And then I went to China. I was running up and down the stairs of the place I was staying at because we were both sick over there in China, my friend Ivy and I. And so we couldn't travel in country to other places because we were alerting the temperature thingy when you walk into a plane. And so we stayed in her house for like a week. And so I was running up and down the steps and walking around, Guangzhou. And so I was really skinny when I came back from China, and then went to Hawaii, and then moved to Sacramento. And so that was 1 year where I was so freaking skinny, so skinny. And then in this last 2018, when I was cured with the J juice, hardly eating anything, I was cured, and I was hot. But that, if I were to do that now, I would die. I'd be dead by now. So not being sick or being cured in this environment will be and already is deadly. That is from the laws of thermodynamics. That is the third law, which is why perfectly healthy people are dropping like flies. The third law of thermodynamics states that the entropy of a system approaches a constant value as the temperature approaches absolute zero. The entropy of a system at absolute zero is typically zero, and in all cases is determined only by the number of different ground states it has. Absolute equilibrium equals death. And people are fighting for their death. They're fighting for not to be sick. They're relishing not being sick. They're advertising, oh, look, I'm not sick. I tell you when I'm sick. You can hear it in my throat. Like I told you yesterday, oh my God, I have a sore throat. And then I told you how I got rid of it, because I had 3 years of torture. The HS whatever and the JN1 is going to torture and even destroy people who haven't gone through the process that I've been through, if they're that far gone. Yesterday, it was hardly anything. I could still function, even being like knowing I was under the influence of that virus that was running through my system. And so it was the being fully awake, not being able to sleep, insomniac, not even being hungry. I was barely hungry the day before yesterday. And that's why yesterday morning hardly anything came out. And I was still awake all night yesterday night. But I still went onto Facebook Live, and I still had a little scratchy throat. But I still said, okay, yesterday around midnight or 2 or whatever it was, I got up and I made sure I blew my nose, and I activated my immune system. Okay? So that way, whatever variants are coming through are not going to make a nest and make me a host to them. And that's right now what people are dying suddenly right now, is they have so much residual nest in their body, and what they're gaining right now in this environment, and they're making homes in their body, and they're not releasing. And so when the frequencies change yet again, because we're in climate change, some people are dying suddenly, and they're perfectly cured. Remember, cures are deadly. You have to have some give of an opening for something to release and something to enter in. That's just like you don't want to have a salt boundary that's so resilient that you can't get any evolution. I mean, in a paranormal type of situation, assault boundaries are okay as long as you push out the spirits, but you still have to have some give. A spirit's gonna get in, and you're gonna have to know how to deal with it. I have salt in my house. I have a 50-pound bag of salt in my house. And remember the salt that I bought a couple years ago, when I told everybody about the salt that I bought, I'm still using it. I will have salt for like many freaking years right now, but I'm not putting a boundary in my house. It's like when the last couple days with the variance being what it was. Oh yeah, I was seeing some weird shit in the corner of my eye. I mean, not to the extent of what Audrey was saying, where people around her were seeing devils and people were getting attacked by it. Not devils, but little demons sitting in the corners. Oh, I see shadows. I see weird things, like just stuff happens. And yesterday I had so much energy, even after I was on the Facebook Live and I ate a bunch of food yesterday. I cleaned my upstairs and all that. So I got into kind of my cleaning mode yesterday, and everything is great. But then I did get tired. But then I noticed that I don't. The energy is different now that I feel amazing. The energy is different in my room, even in the darkness. But yeah, the last couple of days is kind of interesting, because this variant is running through people and it's attracting a lot of different things out there. What do you mean things? The dead are not that far away, okay? The dead are not that far away. So I made that assertion yesterday, that cured equals constipated equals die suddenly when all the conditions are right. People run for the cure until they collapse. You and me, we all have been conditioned to pray for a cure, donate to the cure, develop a cure, basically your demise. That was the conditioning in a slower frequency environment, to feel nothing, to do your job, die happy, no suffering, just die suddenly. So now when the frequency is accelerating, people are getting exactly what they wished for. No suffering, cured, happy, and gone. Well, you're seeing people now, they're deteriorating, right? You're seeing people go through the oncology. They're going through the pain and the suffering and looking for another remedy, another cure. And so the system's like, oh my God, this is insane. So that's why the system is heating up slowly but surely, because those who are suffering right now, well, there's no remedy for suffering really except for death, or deal with it and bring on the substance and go through the process and then lessen the suffering. But when the climate changes, you can't assume that you're not going to be affected. Of course you are, but the severity of the suffering during climate change will be less and less, as long as you know how to use your upper and your lower immune system, or your upper digestive tract and your lower digestive tract, and your respiratory system. And you have to cut your nails, because you're going to have to know everything about your body. And you have to know how to blow your nose, and you're going to have to cough and sneeze and all of that. And sometimes it's required for you to make sure that your sphincter pushes everything out, and that you can't have long nails for that. I'll be really frank, that's how I'm saving my own fucking life. Some of you will embrace this, others you'll be so disgusted by it that you'll say that Jillian's stupid, she's disgusting, she's gross. That's fine. I don't go out there. I don't hang out with people, so it doesn't even matter. We shouldn't be touching each other right now out there. Okay? When you have a family in your home, people exchange microbes all the time, so it's whatever. But you see me going out there and hanging out with people? No. So whatever disgusting habits I have, it's saving my own fucking life. And if you think that keeping old shit in your body is great, causing you pain and suffering, looking for another fucking cure so you can be out there and then die happy, by all means, that's the storyline that you developed, go sustain it. But I'm developing another storyline, and it's saving my ass, and I'm not suffering too much, hardly at all, because I suffered the last 3 years. And so now when the frequency is accelerated, people are getting exactly what they wished for. No suffering, cured, happy, and gone. And if you do not get the luxury to be cured and then die suddenly, the deterioration process is what many are experiencing right now, who pray and wish for a cure. We cast spells of death onto ourselves when we allow others to program us. You saw it happen in Leave the World Behind. Teeth falling out. People breaking bones, breaking legs. So that's why I don't even respond to those who post on their Facebook how they want everyone to pray and wish for a cure. No, I won't pray for another one's death. I also do not donate to your campaigns of cures. I'm not trying to destroy children. I'm not trying to destroy anybody in this environment. I will leave that up to the family to destroy their own. I will leave it up to friends and family to destroy each other. But I won't take part in it, because all of those cures in the old world were made to be accelerated in this world. You just didn't know what you're being set up for. Many of you are doing research and did research to develop the perfect bioweapon of a cure. Even the natural remedies are bioweapons, and you all got paid enormously for it. And now it will work against you. I tried to tell you this. That's why I knew as soon as cannabis was legalized, that was going to be the clincher. We can't have the slaves feeling what it's like to die. So as long as you are under the influence, everyone is happy, right? Happy. That's why you saw how emotional I've been in the last 3 years, because I knew what was coming. I knew what is coming. I knew what's going on. We're in it. I've been watching on Netflix. They're showing you all the new, well, not new, but all the new films that they're promoting out there that they've acquired for a certain amount of time. It's The Purge. Sniper, The Purge, all the different purges, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, and other horror stories. And I'm like, yeah, they're telling us, yes, we're now in the purge. Not so much like they see in the movie, but you're seeing people dying suddenly. You're watching people accelerate their intentions. It's crazy. Yeah, we're in a purge. And there's kids in my town, or babies that just, a year old, that can't, or may not even start, they're getting cancer. People are getting growths that are happening that quickly. People are deteriorating that quickly. Oh, it's 2024 is not going to be what you think it is. It's not going to be, oh, it's my year. It's not, I mean, I could say that, yeah, it's for me, it's my year because I've gone through the pain and suffering. But for others, it might be their year that there's going to be a diagnosis, or someone's not going to survive their own immune system. I'm not looking forward to this year. I'm already seeing so much crap already, but What are you going to do? You can't, people won't change. They can't change. I mean, they could, but they refuse to. Remember, they're so cured down here that it's telling their brain not to do anything different than what it's been told to do the last how many years. People have reinforced the belief system exponentially the last 3 years. If you hadn't changed the last 3 years, you're not going to fucking change now. It's now a matter of time. It's watching the dominoes fall like it was supposed to. And so I knew what all of us were being set up for through the family and friends. I've always known cures were deadly. I just didn't know how to stay it until today. I was the balancing force, but I had to learn the rules and the laws before I talked about it. I did my homework. But now at the 11th hour, it's too late for a lot of people who resisted my information even back then. Okay? So there's some people are seeing the writing on the wall. It doesn't mean they're going to survive it. It just means that they have a chance to survive it. But I'm telling you, things have to change drastically. You're up against so much. That's why I said, know your blood type. Some of you know your blood types. You will figure it out. So why do people get constipated with hemorrhoids? They do not condition their upper respiratory system to cough, sneeze, and blow nose, thus leveraging the pressure in the upper digestive tract to push that poop down into the bowels of the hell. Okay? So when up here is allowed to be activated, it'll push the pressure down there. That's essentially pretty much how I've figured it all out. Hey, honey. My husband's awake. Okay. And so that's why hemorrhoids happen. So they do not condition their upper respiratory system to cough, sneeze, and blow their nose, thus leveraging the pressure in the upper digestive tract to push those demons down into the bowels of hell. And so people strain so hard, they break blood vessels. That's what happens. And so constipation, straining during bowel movement, and sitting on the toilet too long raises your risk for hemorrhoids. To prevent constipation and hemorrhoids, you should drink plenty of fluids, eat a high-fiber diet of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains and milk. But if you're allergic to any of that, God help you. And in this environment, hemorrhoids and constipation will be much more prevalent because the body's going to push out the demon that's being held inside, and they haven't conditioned their upper respiratory system to cough, sneeze, and blow their nose. And so stuff's going to happen down there. Highly ionic environment, all the offspring from exposure to people and remedies will also work against people. People die suddenly when they are cured with microbial offspring in their immune system not conditioned to release. Okay? So the cures market was also the bioweapons you blamed Fauci for. So people are going like, oh, the Fauci ouchie, the vaccine, that was the least of your issues. It was all of the herbal remedies. It was all the prescription drugs, ivermectins, everything is what actually made things worse. Okay, it's all fertility. We all had a hand developing and promoting, selling, and recommending the bioweapons in the remedies market. And now, mixing in diverse company in this highly ionic environment will activate those demons incubating in their immune system. Which is why all food, pain, and my method might prove to have less strain on your heart while you strategically pull out the demons in this system. The system developed within you. Okay? And it's so clear to me now. And at the 11th hour, as the system is poised to cataclysmic events. You want to be cured, be careful what you wish for. Called died suddenly. I relish that I'm uncured. I pride myself not being cured because it means I'm alive and I will live another day. And I don't hang out with too many people. Okay? The poles have flipped. I hope you are prepared. You're not in your grandma's world anymore, guys. This is now a whole new world. And you'll watch people think they live in grandma's world and do what grandma did and what mom did. And they're going to end up energizing themselves out of existence. Kids and teenagers don't even know. Many parents don't even know. Buckle up. Everything is accelerating. Now you know at the 11th hour, I hope you survive it. That's why those who are bigger might have a chance versus those who are skinnier, because skinnier means that you're really cured. And so I posted this quote: life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. And it's truly a reality to be experienced. And it will give you so much clarity and awareness when you finally experience suffering. I feed all suffering food, and I also pull out that demon because I conditioned myself to do that, to save my own ass. And that was a couple of years ago when I had the worst of it come up. When I felt like I had that mycoplasmic web-like substance that enveloped every part of my body, where even drinking water and not eating was like insane. Like it was on steroids for a few days. And it was like Mr. Hanky when I pulled that out. It was like major Tootsie Rolls. And that wanted to stay in my body, and I had to fight it to get it out. That's essentially how I was going to say, when you finally get sick, and you feel so horrible, will you have the strength to not only eat and drink water, but to throw yourself in the shower or whatever else and work on getting that demon out? Will you have the strength to do that? That's what it might take. And I'm telling you, that was the battle. I had battles this last couple weeks, but the real formidable battle, it was between life and death. That would have been my long COVID if I didn't understand how to pull out that crappy demon in my body. That would have been my long COVID. People right now are suffering long COVID because that demon is still in their body and they don't have the means to get it out because they don't understand leveraging pressure in their upper respiratory system to push everything out. They don't understand that mucus is letting them know that there is crap in there. If I hadn't released all that mucus, it would have filled up my head. See, when people get respiratory issues, and they're getting all congested, they're full of shit. That's their body telling them they have to release those demons and not using the means out there on the market because that'll cure them or cause more offspring to then torture them later at the next climate change. You see, I understand indicators because I've had so much experience the last 7 freaking years, and especially the last 3 years. And so I feed all suffering, and I also pull out that demon because I conditioned myself to do that, to save my own ass. I don't cure anything. I don't cure life. That is called death. The power is in the pain and suffering and feeding it and being extremely aware of who you surround yourself with. And some people cannot afford to be around the people they are around, or anyone for that matter. But that's not for me to say. So pay attention to the next round of diet Sundays. You'll see a pattern if it isn't you. We will be learning many lessons the next 15 years. Pay attention to the examples out there. Some of them die and some of them live. Pay attention to all the different deaths. And when they're saying a perfectly healthy person who exercised and ate right, didn't do anything in the medical world, died suddenly, it's because they were cured. They were not only skinny or even obese, but they were cured. They were cured. Obese or skinny, they were cured. They didn't believe in sickness. They were conditioned not to be sick. And they had food issues. They had food allergies. They remedied their pain away. So a perfectly healthy person that someone in an old world could potentially keep living and managing, they won't survive. So those who are under a doctor's care, who have been diagnosed with so many things, it's anyone's guess if they're going to survive this next year. Because remember, these women are saying that they thought their mother had a long time, even though she had issues. They're like, well, I thought I had more time. I thought she had more time. Okay. This is for the women. Long nails with nail polish equals a slave equals a bot. You were bred to do one thing, whatever your parents bred you to be, and then die with absolutely no control over your life. Because you will give yourself away to the medical or holistic system. After you have given your in-laws a bunch of children who won't last in this environment, and then everybody dies. Blessings be lessening. So when women or men have long nails, and they pride themselves with long nails, okay, they can't do anything. They can't do what they have to do to activate their immune system internally at their reach. It's up in here and down in your sphincter. Those are the two ways to activate your immune system to release the demons. Up here, you remove that little booger that's right there, and you get kind of tickly, and then you start sneezing, and then your nose runs. That's how I'm able to release the demons. Up here. Down there, yeah, it's the sphincter. You can't have long nails to do that. Those are the two areas that are so taboo to talk about. That's why I didn't talk about it for the last... I haven't talked about stuff like that because people are so grossed out. Even I had to get over that program and that fear of talking about it. Okay? But those are the two ways to activate your immune system to release the demons. And yeah, you have to be sick. You have to be sick. And if you don't want to be sick, you'll plug up here, you'll plug up down there, and then people get bigger or they get smaller, and then they're all cured and they die suddenly. Okay? And so women with long nails, with nail polish, you're a slave, you're a bot. Even men too. Because you will give yourself away to the medical or holistic system. And after you've given your in-laws a bunch of kids, who won't last in this environment, and then everybody dies. Blessings be lessening. I knew women were slaves. It's time to set the women free. And the system is and was trying to do that. The system was trying to free the women from the slavery of friends and family and tradition. People resisted just like they knew they would. Resistance is futile, causes breakage. Anyone who has long nails, they're programmed to live and die according to the government program that's in their colon. That right there tells you everything. I don't play those games. So I'm not impressed with how beautiful you are because you're programmed to be beautiful. Because you'll be useful for one thing, a sexual plaything or a baby maker, and maybe both while selling a product to your friends and family. After you've gone to college to show how smart you are. And then you're going to get married off very quickly because you'll meet some guy in college or out there. And you'll think that's the end all be all, and then you'll have a baby, and then you'll get cancer, disease, and chronic illness, and all the other shit because you won't change. You'll have long nails, and your in-laws and your friends' family won't let you change, and that's how people die in family and friends. That was fucking strategic. Just remember, this environment is highly ionic, and it's deadly. And so I posted, a post from a diacetic group. She says, my friend has begun talking in his sleep, and by that I mean loud, sometimes shouting, accompanied by thrashing around. This goes on almost all night. I can't understand a word he says, but I can tell he's making words and sentences. He is tired all the time, sleeps between 12 and 14 hours a day, and has naps during the day, at night, and has naps during the day. This has been going on for close to a year. He had 2 mandated you-know-whats because of work. I've had none. He is 65, slim build, was very active. I've never heard of this happening. It is so extreme. He refuses to see anyone for help. Okay, so yeah, the dreams, all the things, talking in his sleep, things going on. I'll tell you, there's some shit going on when you're at night, when you're sleeping. People talk in their sleep, people giggle in their sleep, people do a lot of things in their sleep. Someone else said, I have lost over 25 people in my life. Now my friends have cancer all over and has 6 to 8 weeks to live. It was stage 4 before she even knew. I'm just disgusted with all of this. Oh, believe me, it's going to get worse. But you need to be conditioned for it because it's going to get worse. And you can't be traumatized. You just have to expect it. But don't expect it for yourself unless you are like, I'm not changing. But you should expect it for everyone around you. And you need to be conditioned for it so it doesn't shock you. So someone said, I need to post anonymously. So far in 2023, 2 friends died in their sleep. Many friends have gotten cancer. 2 friends have blood around their heart and coughing. Young girl got varicose veins. Many more get sick with cancer and other viruses. Yes, all you know what. Update. Today I hear my high school boyfriend has cancer. Only one in his family that got, the only one in his family that got you know what. I'm not saying everything is a factor. I'm not saying that's the only factor. Everything is a factor. But I'm sure therapies, regardless, all the remedies and all the therapies have accelerated people's intentions. Yeah. And so that's why I posted those pictures of Dante's Inferno, the 9 circles of hell. And then I did my own little AI where I showed you Dante playing with intestines. Dante, yeah, he's talking about the intestines. Okay. Then I did my own AI with CERN, high frequency environment. Because yes, CERN is influencing. All those protons that are crashing and colliding into each other is causing acceleration. I couldn't figure out how to explain acceleration in the context of the pictures, and sometimes what I envision can't come out unless I find other words to say, and I don't even know how to do that. Because some things that I try to say, comes off, that it flags their community standards, even through Bing. So that thing with frequency, because even then, frequency, when we say frequency, it'll look like some kind of artificial intelligence, futuristic shit. So that's why I said CERN with frequency juxtaposition against the leaves, and then guard towers and all of that. So, and I was wondering if it was going to give me something, or it was going to flag as something, and that's what it came up with. So sometimes you don't always get what you want through AI, but that's okay. And so, yeah, brains and intestines, yes. Two sides of the same coin. When you have old programming in your intestines, it translates to your brain, and then what you say and what you do. And so I allow the programming in my intestines to realize itself, and then I release the demons and I eat all food. And then I have a whole new world in my brain. That's human programming. And so skinny people are programmed for a specific thing. Obese people are programmed for a specific thing. Really strong men and women are programmed for a specific thing. Those who are bigger in stature, larger, have a better chance than someone who's skinny, but still, they both, if they have the time and the capacity and the infrastructure, they both could either lose weight or gain weight relative to where they are, and finally release that demon and bring in the evolution. And so finally yesterday I got some sleep that I totally needed. I'll tell you, this time when I fell asleep, I didn't hear myself snore, but I knew I snored, but I didn't hear it like I did yesterday. Yesterday night, when I was like in the morning, at 2 a.m, I would be awake snoring. How the fuck does that happen? It's like the two worlds finally merged yesterday, but they were separate yesterday night. That's what I noticed. That's a phenomenon that it's hard to convey, but you'd have to experience it. When you're falling asleep, thinking you're falling asleep, but you're still awake and you hear yourself snore, and you actually actively hear yourself snore, and you were experiencing snoring while you're awake. Yesterday, I knew I snored, but I didn't hear it, which means those two worlds were merging. Okay? And so that picture of the boomer shroomer, the time lapse was taken over 6 days with a GoPro of those mushrooms growing. That's what happens with cancer and growth in people. This is what happens in climate change. And when we have those waves of energy passing over us, some people have so much diversity in their body, it causes growth. What happens with me, oh yeah, okay, I feel stuff, it causes growth. My immune system works the way it's supposed to. That's why I get bigger, because my immune system is now galvanizing resources to go and push out whatever it is I was exposed to at that restaurant, wherever place I go to. I pick up stuff along the way, but it doesn't affect me because the immune system keeps it at bay. But then when the immune system is activated so aggressively, like through climate change, then you see the symptoms of dis-ease. And so people get bigger or they get smaller. So this is what happens in climate change. That's why you have to feed your immune system so you can release the demons. Growth happens that quickly. Infection doesn't happen unless there's a catalyst of energy called frequency. So just because someone gets a V, let's say in the old world, and they don't really get, a reaction, okay, no big deal. Like my husband got a tetanus shot, no reaction. He had enough energy to absorb all the immune system activation. Okay? But when you get the V, which, okay, no big deal, and then you have climate change, and you already have predisposed issues and little nests of diversity in your body because all the remedies and everything else that you've held inside or picked up along the way the last how many years that you're years old, that's what happens. And you get all the cancer, disease, chronic illness, and everything else. And so I want to take a picture of I feel great and look at my face, okay? I'm not puffy. I don't feel no more sore throat. And I don't look like a man, okay? I went back to where I was before. I had that climate change in my body. And so I said, today, when I read somebody's Facebook, this lady, she's interesting. I have a lot of people on my Facebook who are against Israel, who are against a lot of things that are going on out there, and are really upset and maybe a little bit hateful. And I understand, because they don't know that there's a reasoning behind all of this purge stuff. Just like with the whole J world, we had to purge out the demons. We literally did, and it was painful for some. Some people were going like, oh, look what I have in my... People are so enamored and so fascinated with what they were releasing in their poop. Okay? And so we had to release those because those things were torturing us. So the initial waking up was knowing what was in our colon. And Susan was like, oh my God, Jillian. Even Sigh, a New Yorker, she's a journalist. She did that interview with me on Cleveland 19. She's the one like, what was it like looking at all that poop all over that 60,000 person group? I'm like, yeah, it was gross. But we saw some crazy shit. We saw people were seeing some crazy shit. And that's what's driving people. It's all that crazy shit in their body. Okay, so it's causing them to be very upset about everything and maybe a little bit hateful. And curious about my information. And I don't hate them or love them. I'm like, I understand. People are being tortured by the things in their body that they can't get rid of for so many reasons. They can't afford to. Maybe they're too skinny. They'd have to eat food, be sick, and release the demons, like blowing their nose and coughing and sneezing and pulling out the crap. But are they going to do that? No. So that's the thing. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. For those who are illiterate, so they're against pictures. I read somewhere they're like, they think pictures was like something, I don't know. Like, I don't know. They're making a judgment about pictures. Because I think they're against the AI pictures. That's my guess. But I didn't want to ask them. I wasn't going to challenge them. I just observe and I understand their position and I try to respond to it in a different way besides insulting others, but whatever. A picture is worth 1,000 words for those who are illiterate. Some people are illiterate, okay? It's not like it's an insult. Some people are illiterate. But not even that. It's easier and simpler way to explain a story. We're in a great reset and pictures are the best stories to tell everybody. Just like children who start off with reading stories, it is with pictures. And then you develop a vocabulary, or vocabulary develop the story. So words create worlds, and worlds create words. Okay? Cherish words and pictures. They tell you everything you need to know if you only look. And even then, you have your own spin on the pictures and the story. Tell your own story, draw your own picture. Use your own words. We are being given a gift to develop the storylines we want for ourselves, but we must put in the time to develop the storyline we want for ourselves. If we don't put in the time to develop our own storyline for ourselves, then we turn to a religion that gives us a storyline with a particular desirable outcome ending for somebody else. I don't want to be subject to somebody else's storyline, so I develop my own. And I still can assimilate to my environment, and I stopped resisting a long time ago. Assimilation is brutal. It's not always desirable for somebody else. But here is my story, and I can still share somebody else's. Words develop worlds. What world are you developing for yourself? And even worlds out there that people are looking at are developing the words for some people based upon their perception of what's going on. And they will tell a storyline based upon their perception, based upon old programming. And you just sit and observe and look for patterns. That's why I shared that picture from somebody else in the curse group the day after tomorrow, 2024 reboot. And that's exactly what we're dealing with right now. And that's a collective shared knowledge that we are in a great reset. So you develop your own world you want to live in, and also try to survive the restructuring. And it's going to be brutal. It already is brutal. People are freaking out all over Facebook about the war in the Middle East, potential coming wars because of China and other places. They told us. Now we just hope we all survive it. So anyways, I'm going to get off here and go drink my coffee and do whatever. And yeah. But I feel great. That was a few weeks of incubation of probably the JN1 and then the HS, whatever that was, that sore throat. That was a 24-hour thing for me. And I'm doing great because my methodology for me, given where I'm at, was surefire. But it took me 7 years. It took me 4 years of research and development. When you think about it, 3 years of implementation. That's what's going to take. You got to put in the time. You have to suffer. If you don't want to suffer, good luck. It's died suddenly. Bye.